Donald Trump. White people, boy. White people, boy.
I think that, like the commander said, I think some of it is just stupidity. You know, people just ranting about something that they think might make a headline. I don't think that at this point we don't have anything concrete to really point us in that direction, but we'll keep investigating and we'll let the facts guide us on how this concludes. Okay?
Donald Trump. White people, boy. White people, boy.
About the violence in Chicago, he continues to connect it to the fact that he continues to mention Chicago in speeches and tweets.
You know, I really can't say what's in the mind of 4 individuals that would do something as sickening as this. Who knows? Who knows? I know that he has mentioned Chicago, but I can't connect that with what these folks did. If you looked at that video, they were just stupidity.
Are those 4 individuals that maybe lead you to believe this was politically motivated?
No.
That was broadcast live on social media while they were doing that, right? And then, I mean, they're talking about Donald Trump. They're saying, I mean, it seems like there's, in their words, some sort of a racial dimension to all this.
You know, it really does sound like that, Anderson. We asked the police about that, and of course the obvious question is this a hate crime? Is this somehow related to politics and all the tensions post the election? And police say that at this point they're still investigating, but they do believe, they tell me, that this is more related to this young man's mental health challenge. Now, you saw in that video, he's white. The offenders you saw in that video are black, so it definitely raises all of these questions. But at this point, they still say they are still investigating.
I mean, at the end of the day, you just try to wrap your head around evil. That's what this is. It's evil. It's brutality. It's man's inhumanity to man. And
I don't think it's evil. I don't think it's evil. I think these are young people, and I think they have bad home training.
Opinion, we don't need white people leading the Democratic Party right now. The opinion, we don't need white people leading the Democratic Party right now. The opinion, we don't need white people leading the Democratic Party right now. The
heard is both people on both sides should just cut it all out. And a hate crime is not the same thing as protesting. We have to be very deliberate about that.
And what do you say? What do you say to the people who dragged a poor white guy out of a car and beat him?
Oh my goodness, poor white people, please! Oh my, stop! My goodness, poor white people, please! Oh my, stop! My goodness, poor white people, please! Oh my, stop! My goodness, poor white people, please! Oh my, stop!
But when you look at this, Symone, they're saying F white people, F Trump. How can you say it's not a hate crime against a white person?
So first I want to say this is absolutely sickening. It's unfathomable that so much hate and anger can fill up a person where they go out and they think that this is okay. And then it was stupid to do it on Facebook Live, but that's a whole nother story. So this is absolutely sickening. But I'm going to say something that's probably not very popular. We cannot callously go about classifying things as a hate crime. Motive here matters. So was this for hate of Donald Trump, the president-elect, because of things that he has said, or was this for pure hate of white people? That matters, because if we start going around and anytime someone says something or does something really egregious, really bad and sickening in this instance in connection with the president-elect or Donald Trump or even President Obama for that matter, because of their political leanings, that is slippery territory. That is not a hate crime. Hate crimes are because of a person's racial ethnicity, their religion, their gender, a disability. It is your political leanings, because someone doesn't like your political leanings and they do something bad to you. That is not a hate crime. Remind folks that we cannot sit here and ignore that for at least for the last year, on very public display, the worst parts of America have been brought from the fringe into the mainstream. So that affects people on both sides. We've talked about white nationalists and white supremacists and the KKK, but there are also when this inflammatory rhetoric is out there, when someone is repeatedly telling you that your community is the worst of the worst, it brings out the worst of the worst in people. I would argue that they also need some help in addition to some consequences, but this just didn't come out of thin air. Some of the nastiest and worst things have been drawn out into the mainstream.
Let me just say this. Symone, you think I'm being too hard on these kids?
I am very hesitant to cast these young people as folks who come from broken homes. For all we know, they have a mother and a father who work very good, hardworking jobs, who have instilled or tried to instill good moral values in them, and the young people just aren't listening. So I think, one, we need more facts, and I think, two, we have to be careful to cast our young people, particularly our young people of color, to the side. Look. They need help. They need to be punished. But we also have to have an elevated conversation about the surroundings and the things that our young people are dealing with every day and the images that they're seeing. They might not watch the news, but they're on Twitter where the president-elect is. They're on Facebook. They're listening to the Breakfast Club. They're listening to the radio. And all of these nasty, nasty things that we've talked about, that we've witnessed over the last year, they have seeped into our children. They are in our schools. And it is coming to bear its ugly head in very, very egregious ways. You know what? The relationship of black people to America is very different than the relationship of white people to America. We're talking about, years, 200 plus years of slavery, 87 plus years of Jim Crow. We have to talk about these at elevated levels. We can't boil it down to, someone saying something disparaging about the first black president of the United States of America when the current president-elect questioned his authenticity as an American. That has some layers to it.
I just think that in context here, having watched that video, and the first or second thing maybe that you bring up is to inject maybe these. I mean. The impression I'm getting, at least from you, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that, maybe they were asking for this. Maybe
Donald Trump, white people, what?
For it. The first thing that I said was, this is sickening, this is disgusting, and it was wrong. But what I did say was, we don't know if it's a hate crime.
Okay.
White people, what? White people, what?
I'm pleased to announce that the investigation has concluded and charges have been approved by the Cook County State's Attorney for hate crimes, aggravated kidnapping, aggravated unlawful restraint, and aggravated battery with a deadly weapon against all 4 of the offenders in custody. 3 of the offenders have also been charged with residential burglary, and 1 of the offenders has also been charged with robbery and possession of a stolen motor vehicle.